Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Board of Selectmen meeting for August 14th. Hey, Chris. August 14th, 2025, and as always, we will stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Sorry, if I'd known that, I would have given you a warning. Okay. As always, we will start with I don't think I have the minutes for, do you have the minutes? Yeah, it's not in my packet, unfortunately. You went right over to, thank you. No, the schedule, the call. You gave me the call for the executive session in this.
It's been a rough couple of weeks.
Oh, okay. That's all right. Probably something I did here. Oh. Okay, is there approval for the minutes of the regular meeting of July 24th, 2025?
Lauren Raven, so moved.
Janet Stone McWigan, I second.
All those in favor, Fred Camillo's a yes.
Lauren Raven, yes.
Janet Stone McWigan, yes.
Thank you. And is there a motion for the approval of the minutes of the special meeting of July 24th, 2025?
Lauren Raven, so moved.
Janet Stone McWigan, I second.
All those in favor, Fred Camillo's a yes.
Lauren Raven, yes.
Janet Stone McWigan, yes.
Okay, thank you. Going on to the first Selectmen's updates. Last night's concert, as everybody knows, was washed out over at Roger Sherman Baldwin Park, so that's rescheduled for August 27th. Bob Capazzo and Chasing Romeo, so we'll look forward to seeing him there. And also the rescheduled Sound Beach Community concert is August 24th over in Binney Park, so hopefully it won't rain then either. And Lauren and Janet and I had the pleasure of attending a ribbon cutting for the Mead House over up in the backcountry on 613 Riversville Road. And it was and Brendan was there too, and it was, the house was built in 1746, and they were gonna tear it down. And the Audubon, hats off to the Audubon for stepping up and working with some private citizens and Murphy Brothers contractors. They did a terrific job and saved that historic structure. So as I mentioned there, Greenwich does a great job with preservation and conservation, and that was a project that really incorporated both of those. So we were grateful to be there. And we have I know my colleagues are going to bring this, Lauren probably is a CMS topping, but I'll let her do that. That's this week. It's actually today. St. Rock's begins Friday night, so it's an abbreviated feast this year because of the construction over at the school. So it's a wonderful, wonderful feast, long tradition here in Greenwich, and it's only a couple nights. And if you go to the procession, which is usually on Sundays, where we have church I know Liz has been there. We have church, and then we walk through the streets with the statue of Chickahominy, and then it takes a couple hours. People have food out there. It's a lot of fun, and then we usually go for a lunch somewhere in Portchester. But this year it's going to be on Saturday, so I don't think it's going to be as long as it was in the past. So just if you were planning on that, just make note of that. The Coscob Library going to do a sneak peek on Sunday. It's going to be reopening at 2 o'clock if anybody's around. That's we're eagerly anticipating that. They expanded it a little bit. I have to swear in 2 new firefighters next week. And also want to mention that Andrew Karen is our Employee of the Month. Andrew works at Parks and Rec. He manages the Civic Center. Big Islander fan too. I got to throw that in there. Great guy. He's doing a terrific job over there. Loves his job, and we salute him for being chosen as the Employee of the Month. And just coming up in September, we have lots of recognitions. It's going to be Thyroid Cancer Awareness Month. It's going to be Prostate Cancer Awareness Month. We're going to be doing something with the Greenwich Library. And Ed Randall, who's been the host of Talking Baseball, if you're a baseball fan, for many years. We're getting some baseball players involved with that. So stay tuned for information on that. And also, we also recognize Childhood Cancer Awareness Month. So we will get more information out on that and how you can join in the recognition of those afflictions and how we are supporting their efforts to find cures for them. The 24th is the Coscob Mayanis Dugout Reunion. It always draws a couple hundred people there. It's sort of like an old-timers type of thing. Years ago, you had to be born in Coscob or had to have lived there 20 years, and as people are starting to move away or unfortunately pass on, they've gotten a little more lenient. So if you live there for a few minutes, you can attend. And then the 24th, I mentioned that night, is the Sound Beach Community Band concert. And then on the 26th, we're going to be doing preparedness training for reels. So that's going to be, I think, mostly a several-hour endeavor all day. It starts in the morning, I believe. So, that's how do we identify threats with on the reels and things like that. So Joe Lasella has been doing a terrific job as an emergency operations director and really looking at almost every possible scenario as we evolve and the world changes around us. So Greenwich is staying on top of that. So we thank Joe Lasella and his team over there for all of these forums and sessions. So with that, I'll turn it over to Lauren. Good morning, Lauren.
Good morning. Thanks, Fred. Hi, Janet. Not much of an update. You did mention we have the topping off ceremony today at Central Middle School. It was really exciting to sign the beam that will be displayed as both somebody that's been on the building committee since it started, as well as somebody who graduated from Central Junior High School in 1977. So excited about that. I'm hoping somebody's going to bring me sneakers because I did not wear the right shoes today. And thanks for all the updates and the events. It's kind of been a slow few weeks. Nice to have a little bit of slow time. We are still catching up on our interviews for boards, commissions, and committees. The biggest addition, the Riverside Elementary School Building Committee. We've got a couple of interviews later today, but we are still looking for volunteers to serve on that building committee. So that's my update.
Okay, thank you. And I would have been there with you in '77 if they didn't ship me off to Catholic school. I was misbehaving at Coscob. Good morning, Janet.
Good morning. So it might be slow in town hall because a lot of our commissions and boards don't meet in August, but summer is flying. Our students are going to be returning to school soon. So I wish them well. And on that topic, I have an update from the Old Greenwich School Building Committee, which has been working through the summer to start construction on the OGS renovation. Unfortunately, the combination of the bid process and the ongoing national uncertainty around the imposition of tariffs negatively impacted the committee's ability to start construction without an extension of the construction period and a significant revision to the construction phasing plan. The OGS Building Committee is unwilling to accept expensive trade-offs that might also impact the well-being of students and staff in the building. As the committee has repeatedly promised the community, the building committee has no higher priority than best safety practices, as well as keeping the project on time and on budget. Acting on the recommendation of its construction manager, the building committee has decided to spend the balance of the summer and fall incorporating some revisions to the drawings and bid packages, making some adjustments to optimize the construction phasing plan, and aims to bring the project back out to bid in late 2025 for an April 2026 start to construction. So if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer, but that's, at this point, pretty much everything there is to say.
Thank you for the update, and I know James had reached out to us, so thank you. Okay, and before we go into old business, I did find the agenda, so unfortunately, Ken hit it right in front of me, so how dare you do that? That ain't my fault on that. Okay, under old business, we have two items. I see our friends from Eversource here, update on the test pit work on Greenwich Avenue between Grigg Street and Bruce Park Avenue. And Ken and Chris are here. Good morning, Ken.
You just put the microphone on.
Good morning, I'm Ken Susi with Eversource, and pleased to report that our project for duct bank installation has been completed. However, in the coming weeks, we're going to be doing a vault rehab about 100 feet north of the intersection. So we'll be starting that in about 2 weeks, and they have about, I was told, about 3 weeks in one central location. That'll be day work.
Okay, thanks, Ken. And you'll just let us know about that work, how that's going too. And
Absolutely.
we appreciate both of you coming every couple weeks to let us know. And since you started doing this, no complaints.
That's a good
We
thing.
haven't had that. That's hard to do. Yeah, we've had no complaints. So thank you, Chris, and thank you, Ken.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Okay,
Yeah.
going under old business. The one more under old business is a request to approve the trial project to inform the pedestrian safety improvement plan for route run from Byram Road to Pembroke Road. And Jim Michael of DPW's here, also Michael Kiselak. Good morning, Jim.
Morning. Yeah, so we've heard a decent amount from the residents and so forth. So I think what we're ready to do here on this project is we're going to just take a step back. We're going to do some further review with the neighborhood. We're going to try and meet with the Neighborhood Association in the coming weeks, hopefully, and review some of the ideas that we might have there. As we've talked a little bit in the past, this is a little complicated also because of the bridge project that the Army Corps is doing. So there's certain things that that they don't want us to do yet because they will just get in the way of doing the bridge project with rerouting the roadway. So I know there's been some discussion about putting in a hawk, which is more like a full signal. We're going to explore the opportunity of, is there a possibility of getting a full signal at Byram Road in Route 1? Is that beneficial? How would that impact traffic, et cetera there? So there's a lot of different things that we're going to continue to explore to try and improve things down there, and thinking about it as part of this project that we're looking at for pedestrian and vehicle safety, but also making sure that what we're doing isn't going to completely be destroyed or taken out of commission when the bridge project gets put into place. So, like I said, I talked with Liz Eckert from the Byram Neighborhood Association. We're going to try and get it to their next meeting in early September and go from there. And then we'll look at maybe having another public meeting or two about this project. So,
Jim, thank you so much, and thanks for working on this. I know there was lots of options that you threw out there to DOT, and and just being willing to pivot and look at other options is very helpful, and certainly working with the neighborhood associations is greatly appreciated.
yeah, definitely.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Jim. Thank you. Okay, going on. So we'll be following up on that, and I know Liz is here, so she'll report back to the BNA, and we'll see what we can get done in the coming months and years before the project, and then when that bridge project's done, we'll look to something more permanent. Thank you. All right, a request for a speed limit on Portchuck Road, and Michael Kiselak and Jim Michael's here. Still, you didn't have to move.
Figured I didn't need to leave, so. Yeah, so I know we've been working with the Portchuck Road Neighborhood Association and the residents along there, the Round Hill Association, on improving speeds and so forth in the Portchuck area. And so we've been doing this for a number of years. We've made a decent number of improvements with adding signage, improving visibility there. And so one of the things that we're also looking at is there other means of traffic calming that could be done on Portchuck Road? We've sent out a questionnaire to the residents of Portchuck Road about centerline rumble strips to make sure that they're acceptable to that before we were to install them, because yes, they can have a positive benefit on speeds and lane departures, so it improves safety, but there's also the impact of if a vehicle drives across it, it does make a noise. So we understand that. We want to make sure that the residents do understand that piece. So we've introduced that as an opportunity for them to comment on. We're collecting comments back from those residents that live on Port Chuck Road. We've also started some internal looks at a variety of the different intersections, of doing some narrowing of some of the intersections or modifications of potentially putting a roundabout or modifications in other manners to these intersections. We have some draft plans internally. We're looking to meet with that area, including the Round Hill Association, probably September, October timeframe, with some of these ideas so that they're aware of what we've been working on. Get their buy-in first before we start moving into, because a lot of these would be major intersection redesigns, which need to go through the MI process. So they would then come through your group, then they'd come through planning and zoning and so forth. So there's a lot of things that we're trying to do with this neighborhood group as well. But one of the things that did also come up is the request for lowering the speed limit to 20 miles per hour. And so we've done a little bit of an engineering study related to that. We're requesting of you to approve the application for a 20 mile per hour speed limit. One of the big things on a 20 mile per hour speed limit that we do want to just put out there is that the state in their application form clearly states that a 25 is normally the lowest speed limit unless there's significant reason to approve less than 25. So we're willing to try, and hopefully that the state will agree with some of the points that we've made, because the road is pretty curvy. And so there's, in our report, I can't remember, Michael's got the exact numbers, but it's pretty much over 50% of the road has what we've considered curve reduction warning signs, where the speed limit should be, that people should safely travel less than 25 miles per hour. So we've done that. So that's kind of our justification for asking for the 20 miles per hour on this road. And so that's what we're hopeful that the state will potentially agree with us on this, so.
Thank you. That's a great point. For people who may not be familiar with Port Chuck Road, it is one of the curviest roads we have. And hopefully, I know the state usually doesn't do this, but I think if we show just how curvy it is and how dangerous that can be if somebody is not paying attention and they're going 25 or 30, you could have an issue at one of those curves. And some of those curves actually have houses right there too.
Yeah.
So we appreciate all of the work that's going into this, and also Brenda DeSimone, who's here, and some of the residents there who have been working diligently on this for years, and not only with the town, but with neighboring states and Hartford. And so they're trying everything. So
Yeah.
they recognized an issue, and we appreciate all that you've done here.
Yeah, so, all right.
Thank you. And I'm sorry.
I have it's not related, but maybe related, just because you're here. I noticed, the Merritt has been repaved. And wasn't there a time where some of this curve on the Merritt had like a rougher surface to slow people down because there was like a lot of accidents? And then I'm noticing 95 was paved, a little rough, then it got paved again, super smooth, and now it's like rough again in certain places. Like, what's the deal?
So the Merritt Parkway, because of the higher speeds, they did a treatment on some of their curves, which was an additional kind of a traction treatment is what it was done. It was kind of like it almost was like the old tar and chip seal treatment, where it gave a little bit more friction for tires when they were going around the curves, because they saw that vehicles were traveling faster than what they probably should be. And so they figured they would try that out there. I have not heard whether they're going to put that back in after they get it paved. They generally will repave the road, and then when the road's repaved, after a short period after that, they'll end up bringing the treatment back in. So I have not heard yet whether they're doing that or not, because that is a state project. With the 95, there's a couple different types of pavement that they've been utilizing for that, because I know there was some request by the area of putting in what's called a quieter pavement, so that there would be less noise coming from 95. So they were, one of the initial pavements that they put in was a little bit smoother, as you kind of called it, than what they have. They were having a few issues with getting proper compaction, because they look for a certain compaction level for pavement, and that, so they've done a slight redesign on the mix, but it's still, my understanding is it's still considered a quiet pavement mix of what's been put out there in the new thing, in the new process. So they got that, they're continuing to work on that, and that's the new pavement mix that they're looking to put out there.
And is that appropriate for any, like, of our local roads to have that kind of treatment?
Generally, a couple things. For our local roads with the slower speeds, hopefully, most of our roads are intended to be a 25 mile per hour speed. A few of the larger, like North Street is, parts of it are 35, 40. But for the most part, most of our roads are 30 or below. It's not as necessary, because the noise isn't as high, and the vehicles aren't, having as difficulty maneuvering that way. But if there were certain specific areas that we start seeing, like lane departures where people are leaving the roadway a decent amount, it's stuff that we have thought about considering and so forth. But it's generally utilized for more higher speed roadways, is what we've normally seen it.
Got it, thank you. I know a little off topic, but I was curious.
Well, over on Westover Road in Stamford, when you go around the curve there, they have it in red. I don't know, and it's a little bit different surface, maybe what you're talking about. It's kind of cool, although I don't know if I lived there, if I would like it, but it does look kind of cool. You definitely are aware of it when you're going around it. I mean, have you thought of something like that? You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. We've seen it. There is different things. I know, we like to use we've started using the decorative crosswalks to raise attention to people. Most of those are just for to raise people's awareness that something different is happening here. And so we've looked at that. I know sometimes you'll see, and it's not something that we've looked to implement in town yet, but like you'll see bike lanes in some of the major municipalities where they're painted green. And so,
Florida.
and that's just more to raise awareness to that and to show that's a bike lane. But there's different treatments like that sometimes people will utilize and it's stuff we've, we're looking to consider. As part of our Safe Streets for All project, we're exploring a variety of different options, and we're going to be working that into our big plan of, is there other things that might be able to be explored, such as, different types of pavement markings and so forth that would raise awareness.
Yeah, I mean, I would think if the neighborhood was okay with that, and I'm not saying yours in particular, but any neighborhood, if they were willing to try that, it would seem like it's a relatively low-cost experiment, because I could tell you, when I'm on that road, I do see it, and I'm aware of it, and I know there's something different there. Why is it red? I definitely know it's not normal, and the first reaction and instinct I have is to slow down. Not that I was speeding, but it's...
I can tell you we have a few things in the works, but I don't want to
Say it out loud. Gotcha.
unveil them yet, because
Gotcha.
they're not fully baked, and I don't want them to get out there and
Get like 10,000 emails while you're doing this? No, I got you.
But we're working on a few
got it.
options like that, and we'll be unveiling those in the not so distant future. So
That's good.
So yeah, we're always looking at ideas. We're exploring what things are out there for options. We try to keep up with what what options are approved nationwide. We try to keep up with the latest technology. We introduce a lot of the new technology and stuff in town, so that's always been beneficial to us, so that's helpful.
Yeah, I think that's great. Thank you.
All I have to say is thank you for the explanations, and thank you for all the work that's going into this.
Yeah, no problem.
Much
Thanks.
appreciated.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Jim. And thank you, Mike. Okay. Yes.
Brendan D. Simone, the president of Round Hill Association. Also Portrait Road resident. With the application, we're going to be sending to, we've been pulling police crash reports for almost 5 years. So we have a sample, not every single one, lots of crashes that we would like to send in this spreadsheet. We compiled a spreadsheet with the application to the state showing that it's a dangerous road. There's a lot of blind curves and narrow hills. We see it on a regular basis. I'll also be submitting a letter to DOT from the Round Hill Association saying it's a problem. So we hope that this is something they will take very seriously. We had spoken to Tina Corpus a few times, and she made a really good point. Jim has said many times that he's worried about if you lower the speed limit on one road, other roads will want the same, or there'll be an effect, or if you put a speed bump in or make a change, other neighborhoods. But part of this issue is the airport. Westchester Airport is right over the line. And cars, we know, we've seen, are coming off the Merritt on exit 28, going onto Portruck Road, over to Cliffdale Road. They're Uber drivers, and we're trying to combat that. Out-of-state drivers going to our local road. So this is a one-off thing. We're trying to prevent this from happening. So if another road says, well, we want the same thing, this is a one-off issue. So we hope that you guys, will take that in consideration as we think about other options. And if we can get the speed limit lowered, we have done a lot of research with our traffic engineer that Waze and Google Maps will now take that road, and it will no longer be quicker to get off the Merritt to go to Portruck and Cliffdale. It'll be quicker to stay on the Merritt Parkway by 1 minute in many cases. Cars are saving 1 minute to go up to 684 or go to the airport. By going down to 20 miles per hour, we potentially could get some of the cars off the road. We still won't stop the cars who've learned about it, the drivers who know there's a back way, but at least we'll get some of the cars off the road. And finally, regarding the rumble strips, this wasn't our first choice. The residents had signed a petition asking for traffic calming measures, including speed limits, no turns. Rumble strips weren't our first choice. The neighbors are concerned. We had done a lot of outreach about the noise, and the letter that we received from the town didn't have any indication as to what part of Portruck would have the rumble strips, whether it be the whole road or only the curvy parts of the road. So as much as we appreciate the offer, I think some of the residents are nervous that it's not exactly what we wanted. So we're still talking to everybody. We have another meeting coming up, but just that's our feedback on the rumble. We wish we had been more collaborative about the process because we had sent in a petition with a bunch of stuff. So they're just concerns about.
Yeah, there was a
rumble
lot on
strips.
that, and I thank DPW for addressing a lot of them. Obviously, not everything's going to work, and I could tell you that the rumble strips do work. I don't know how loud they are. I mean, they're on so many roads now, and I've never heard people complaining about the noise. So who knows if that's really going to be an issue? But certainly the 20 mile an hour, we're willing to. I don't want to speak for my colleagues, but I'm definitely willing to pass that along and give that a shot to the state. And as far as you mentioned Representative Corpus and Senator Fazio, I know was contacting on it. If they can maybe work with the state and see, again, if they would reconsider and put a sign up saying on, a few miles before or right before, the Round Hill exit, that the airport's at King Street, get off there, that would help a little bit.
Yeah.
We're not asking for a lot there, so I think if we can get that from the state, that would be a help.
I think it sounds easy, but it's not that easy to do with the Merritt Parkway Association. But listen, we'll keep trying. But listen, I appreciate all your guys' time and attention to this. Appreciate Jim and those guys, but we'll keep pushing along.
It's like a full-time job for you.
Exactly. Thank you.
Thanks, Brendan. Appreciate it. Okay, and going on to our last item, which is the request for the town of Greenwich to participate in the national opioid settlement concerning Purdue Pharma. And we have Rosemary here for that, Beretta, our assistant town attorney. Good morning, Rosemary. Yeah, and Demetra is coming up now.
No, push the button to make it green. Push the button on the.
There you go.
Excellent. Although I think my voice is plenty loud, but
She's here.
good morning. We submitted this application for the Board of Selectmen to approve the Town of Greenwich participation in this new national opioid settlement. It's for the Purdue Pharma and the Sackler family. There's a pending bankruptcy action, and part of that proceeding is settlement funds for this national opioids litigation that's pending in Ohio. We submitted a copy of the participation form. Fred has signed these before for the other opioid litigations where we have settlements. And basically, it's just submitted through DocuSign, and then the more cities or towns in the state of Connecticut that participate, the more money the state of Connecticut will get. And right now, it's unknown what the number will be because it's a proposal. The settlement has not been approved yet by the bankruptcy court. So the deadline to submit this is September 30th.
Thanks, Rosemary.
And even though we don't know the exact amount, we know the formula. So 15% of the funds will go to municipalities within Connecticut, and of that 15%, Greenwich receives 1.56%.
1 point, thank you. Any questions or comments?
So thank you. I did read, it was quite for anyone who didn't
Yes.
know how thick this was, it was quite thick. I did read over it. It seems like a great thing. Yeah, it makes sense that we would sign on to it. And one of my questions, and I think, though I'm getting the answer, is it's very specific how when we as a town get the funds, how we are to spend those funds. So my question, just as a good governance question, is which department would own it? So clearly it's the Department of Human Services, and you would oversee the dispersion of the funds. Okay.
Yes, so we have received thus far, just so you know, we're speaking today about the Sackler settlement, but there are currently 8 settlements where we are currently receiving funds for, and we have received a total of $491,669. And there's about a 15 or 18-page remediation use list. So we ensure if there's any proposed use of the funds that it meets one of those requirements.
And the money, Demetria, that the $419,000 has been put where's for people who may be watching?
Yes, so right now, we can make an allocation or appropriation request anytime we feel that there is a project that we should be funding. So far, we have requested approximately $73,000. And those funds have been used for things like Narcan, kits, for GEMS, also for Greenwich Public Schools. We've provided a small amount of money to liberation programs towards their prevention, education, and treatment initiatives. We've also worked with Kids in Crisis, and they've done a substance misuse media campaign to prevent use within youth. And there were some funds that were requested by the Board of Education or the Greenwich Public Schools that will be used. This particular sum of funds hasn't been used as of yet, but for education services and clinical interventions that will help prevent substance use.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Appreciate that.
Excellent.
Thanks, Rosemary.
Oh, yes, no problem.
Thank you very much.
Any additional questions? Thank you so much.
Bless you. No, so we just need to,
This is a first read?
okay, so we'll be, in 2 weeks, we will vote that in. Thank you so much. Before we go to, we have a few appointments before we close. I know, I was going to say that. Bob, are you signed up? You can lead us off, Bob. Bob D'Angelo. Yeah.
Okay, Bob D'Angelo, I'm here speaking on behalf, hi, everybody. Lauren, I went to Central Junior High, too, before they called it middle school. I'm probably 6 years before you, though. Ate a lot of pizza free at the feast a long time ago as an altar boy at St. Roch, so good memories with that. Great. Speaking on behalf of the Active Transportation Task Force and also just some of my own opinions, I don't know if you've seen it, but in the last 2 months, there's been a bunch of newspaper articles, Greenwich Times, Stanford Advocate, different things, talking about the plethora of e-bikes and specifically the dangers with e-bikes with young kids that their parents are buying them e-bikes just to kind of keep up because their buddies have them. And it's a good thing in a way, but it's a real dangerous thing. And we're seeing that increase in Greenwich neighborhoods here where, say, a 12-year-old boy has got one of these They're almost mini motorcycles, and they're governed, it's a certain class e-bike, but it's openly advertised that with a very simple modification, you can ungovern the speed from, say, 23 miles an hour, and that vehicle can go up to 40 or 50 miles an hour. And they're riding all over town. Most of the kids that we see, you see them too, not wearing a helmet, riding on sidewalks. And I think, it got pulled from the agenda, pedestrian safety. I think it is a pedestrian issue, just because if a young person riding that fast that doesn't really have the skill set to go that fast on a sidewalk, if you're a pedestrian and you get hit by a vehicle like that, everybody's going to get hurt. So, the state took note of it too, because it's happening all over the state of Connecticut and the country. And on 1 October, they're really changing a bunch of laws regarding these e-bikes. They're raising the age, you're supposed to wear a helmet if you're 13 or below. They're raising that to 18. I mean, it's not really enforced. Let's face it, our great police officers don't want to be coming down hard on young kids for not wearing a helmet, but that's being increased to 18 years old. And these vehicles that can go pretty fast, there's going to be a law that if under a certain age and a certain wattage of that vehicle, it's got to be registered. You have to have a license to basically drive some of these vehicles. So the state's trying to put some protection in there. And I think, just real quick, I think moving forward, I think we'll see more of those vehicles on the street here, especially if and when the Route 1 bridge, down near Greenwich High School goes in. I think they're going to buy a lot of those vehicles, because that's going to be one of the only ways to get to Greenwich High School on time when Route 1 goes from 4 lanes to 2 lanes. So I think we as a group, we as a community, I think, there's some strategies to really, really outreach to the schools, to try to get parents and kids, a share the road culture, basically. John Baxendale, Backcycle, he's trying to put together an e-bike safety forum for parents, and we're going to have, I think, on the 25th, Monday of August at the fire station. The fire chief wants to talk about the dangers of lithium-ion batteries with these e-bikes, that you shouldn't store those inside, different things. And then we want to get into the middle schools when school starts to really try to outreach. So that's underway. The other thing that I think that we should try to do is try to institutionalize curriculum teaching in the schools, the middle schools, even the high school, and almost replicate what was done with Safety Town. Safety Town's been going on for years. Beautiful program for little kids. I think we could put together an institutionalized pedestrian bicycle safety program that, say, every 4th grader or every middle schooler goes through. It's reinforced with the parents via the PTAs to get kids a little bit safer, to own their own safety. Wear a helmet, wear high visibility clothes, know the rules of the road, know that when you're on a sidewalk, you have to yield to pedestrians. So that's a strategy. Jim and Michael left, but the DPW doing good work on getting SS4A and trail grant money. So there's going to be some good recommendations or things that the town can actually do. And then the last thing, and I talked to Joe Siciliano about this, I think with the new Civic Center that's open and the Western Civic Center, I think, say, in the May timeframe, the town, we as a group, task force, bike shops, bunch of people, we could institutionalize a family safety day, say at the new Civic Center and also at the Western Civic Center, to come out, run safety clinics for bicycles, for scooters, for e-bikes, pedestrian safety, get, the police department involved, and just make that a fun event and institutionalize that, have different skills stations. We did that many years ago, and it was successful, but I think now with the new Civic Center, we could really institutionalize that and do something really special with that, basically. So, like I said, I just wanted to give you the e-bike, these monster vehicles driven by young kids. I mean, it's really getting a lot of attention, and I think we got to try to get kids and parents making the decision not to buy your 12-year-old that bike, and certainly not to ungovern that so that it can go 50 miles an hour and be real dangerous to everybody, themselves included.
Thank you, Bob. I agree.
Thank you.
And when is the forum is on the 25th?
Yeah.
Time and place?
6 o'clock at the Central Fire Station.
Okay.
And that's going to be, it was a response to some parents that wanted, some help to understand this. What are the new changes going to be? And what should they know about these vehicles? Bless you. So that's the first go of it. And I think we plan to go into the 3 middle schools after that, with that information.
Yeah, I've been seeing this week, just alone this week, in Florida, there was a couple of kids on first day of school, which is this week.
Yeah.
Got hit on bikes.
Right.
And then they went back and showed on the news just at the end of last year, some kids that were still in the hospital from being hit, and some didn't make it. So
Yeah.
I think it was yesterday, the day before, I was going through Old Greenwich, and I saw 3 kids on these bikes, but they had these helmets on, and they're actually nice-looking helmets now, and they're much more protective than.
That's good, because a lot of them are not wearing
Yeah,
them,
no, I saw
basically.
3 and they were, and the helmets actually were sort of like how the baseball helmets have evolved
Yeah.
over the years with the flaps, but now they're a little bit
Right.
cooler looking, and these were pretty nice. So that gave me hope that at least somebody's listening and paying attention.
Yeah, no, and I think John will send you something. Maybe you can get it into next week's Friday thing to
Baxendale?
invite. Yeah, John will send you something, his flyer that he's trying to put together that maybe you could put in your Friday blast.
I'll shoot them a note
Yeah.
now.
And the last thing, just real quick, I appreciate your time on this. We've talked about, I think, we have the Trail Grant Award that's taking a look at Stanford into Binney Park. And I mean, unfortunately, I don't think there'll be too much distance of true off-road capability on that, though there will be recommendations for increased safety. But I've always felt that a really beautiful place for off-road trails should be in Bruce Park, basically. There's walking paths that are there. They could be widened. And I think, that links a really good, Kids Park across from the Bruce Museum. It would link Central Greenwich with Koskob for commuters that are transiting there on bicycle. I think what I've seen living in a lot of places, living in Europe, you've seen it too when you go to different places on vacation. If you have multi-purpose paths that are off-road, it helps build a safe, share the road culture. And I think that Bruce Park, if we put our heads together, and I think Joe's interested in a little bit in Parks and Rec, basically, if we could get a true multi-purpose path transiting Bruce Park that could be used for pure family recreation coming out of the park there, and also commuters or anybody, I think that would help build a true, the beginning of a real share the road culture that, we want to migrate to.
Yeah, as you know, I've been bugging everybody about this. I'm a big proponent of that, and I still think Pinetum, Pomerantz would be a good place to do it because for a lot of reasons. Bruce Park is probably a little easier to do because it's
Right.
not as much growth there. So I agree with you. I mean, let's shoot for Bruce Park first.
Yeah.
I still am going to keep pushing the other place between Bible Street and Central, but you have our full support on that.
Yeah.
And so anything I could do working with Parks and Rec.
Yep.
And if we, need to put something in the budget or go out for some private funds to help us a little bit. Or you have groups help with projects. 'Cause
Right.
again, that's not major construction.
No.
And the paths are already there.
Paths are there, they just need to be widened. I think it would really help build a culture. And back to Pinetum, Fred, we walked out, we talked about that. I think, and it's a great place, but I think a lot of people are very concerned that if you do put a multi-purpose path, it's just that one connector path that the mountain bikers, they just go over everything. They love going over stuff, and I think there's a real concern that if you allow bikes in there at all, that they'll be going on hiking trails that they're not supposed to be in. So I understand that. That's why I agree with you that I think
Yeah.
Bruce Park is a much better first start. But it would be a good link on that one connector trail to help kids get to Central, stay off Orchard Street, or, on their way to Greenwich High School.
Totally agree.
Yep.
So I think shooting at Bruce Park first will get us going there. Get some points on the board.
Yeah. Thanks, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you, Bob. Appreciate it.
Well, before you go, I just wanted to thank you and Vin DeMarco for all the work you're doing on the Active Transportation Task Force. I think that the forum is a great idea. I hope you're willing to reprise it in September, because a lot of families are not around in August who really
Yeah.
need to hear this message. And on that note, I know that the Greenwich Police Department does have a flyer out about all the rules concerning e-bikes and e-scooters. I do think it needs a little bit of verbiage to provide context and explanation about what these rules are and when they're changing. So maybe if you and Vin
Yep.
can work with
Sure.
the police department and make that a little bit more
User-friendly. or just-
user-friendly, and then
It can get-
and
it
put it
can
in
get
your
confusing. Yeah.
Friday newsletter.
We were planning on putting something in either this week or next week.
That's
in the
great.
newsletter, but if we get the language, you asked me already to do it.
Yeah, I know, and that's a good idea if we can get some
I'm looking for
content.
more information first, so it may wait till next week, but we're working on it.
Thanks, Ken.
I-
Much appreciated.
I also like the idea of getting something into the classroom at school, maybe in phys ed, part of the curriculum. So it might be worth, talking to the Board of Education. I think they have like a curriculum committee. I mean, some of the stuff is mandated, by the state.
Right.
But I think there's probably an opportunity to have a discussion. And I keep thinking about stuff that was removed from school that is so useful, like, how to wash clothes and
Right.
cook and stuff like
At
that.
Central, they call that home ec. Remember, we had drafting and wood
I
shop
still
and
have my
metal shop?
snickerdoodle recipe.
Right. We could use a little help. I mean, I remember when we first got started a little bit, Janet gave us some, good advice to go to the PTAs to work the schools. But for the curriculum, I've tried to talk to Tony a little bit. I know she's got a lot on her plate and stuff, but we're having a little bit of a hard time to try to have any discussion at all about seeing if we can institutionalize curriculum. And there's a lot of schools in the country that really, they take every fourth grader and they go through a canned thing. And it's for the parents also. They get a link so they can reinforce it. I think that would be one of the best things that we could do to help kids and help families stay safe, is have it institutionalized in, a couple grades, basically, an elementary grade and a middle school grade, basically. And any ideas you have of how, whether it's Ben or somebody over there, really have not been able to penetrate the Board of Ed like that. So,
It's disappointing, but we'll keep
Yeah.
at it.
okay, thanks, guys.
Thanks, Bob.
Peter Alexander also signed up to speak about Interstate 95.
Okay.
Looks like the green light's still on. Peter Alexander, landscape architect, planner. I would like to know what the process to formally present to you a analysis of the I-95 that was presented to the Retired Men's Association, which is on, you can see it online. I was just wondering if the next meeting I could make a formal presentation in regards to that.
Regarding, what, I didn't see it, what was,
The I-95 report that CDM Smith presented to the
Okay.
RMA.
and this would just be to let us, I mean, obviously, it's a state road and we don't have jurisdiction over that, so this would just be to, just,
Yeah, what's the
We're-
objective?
what's the objective here, presenting it to us?
I was
I
going to say,
don't want to give away the candy store until I'm
but
finished
we're
with
already
it.
we are already on, what he's talking about is what we've been presented. We are already on that distribution list to sign up for these are public sessions.
Here. Distribution list for what?
So, right, the state has been working on this, and there have been public meetings.
Oh, this is regarding we're going back a couple of years, we've been, and we
And
had.
they've been continuing, and we
Yeah.
are
And
aware of them.
And we put a group together that represented every neighborhood along 95. So it was from Old Greenwich to Byram, so, and they stopped the project they were gonna do because of all of our concerns, and we've got our, our state people involved with it too. So I think that's what Janet's talking about. So yeah, we have been getting all of that. I mean, if you want to add something, your opinion to,
No, I want my professional,
but what do you want us to do with it? I mean,
I
I'm trying
want
to figure.
to make sure it's understood by especially you three.
Okay.
I'm
All right,
just
yeah,
trying to
that's fine.
offer my
I don't know what you
professional
want us to
services.
do with it. I mean, again, the state has been in touch with us for now 5 years, back to 2020, and we reached out to them. We've had them come down. They've done presentations to us. So, yeah, you could present whatever. I just don't know.
So it'd be for information, no action.
Yeah, just for your information. Okay, all right, that's fine. All righty.
So next meeting, I'll be on the schedule?
Well, it depends on what else is on our agenda.
Is that the one where the 24th? Oh, September, okay, all right.
The second meeting in August.
Gotcha, okay.
So we'll let Ken,
Well, let me know if you let me in the club. Okay?
Thank you. Thank you. All right, we have a couple appointments.
yes. So Lauren Rabin, I motion that we nominate Cindy Lyle as a new member to the Board of Human Services, position R9, term expiring June 30th, 2028.
Janet Stone McWigan, I second.
All those in favor, Fred Camillo's a yes.
Lauren Rabin, yes.
Janet Stone McWigan, yes.
Lauren Rabin, I motion that we appoint Alexandra Wacko as a new member of the Selectmen's Nomination Advisory Committee and a term expiring June 30th, 2028.
Janet Stone McWigan, I second.
All those in favor, Fred Camillo's a yes.
Lauren Rabin, yes.
Janet Stone McWigan, yes.
And third, Lauren Rabin, I motion that we nominate Michael Buccino as a returning member of the Parks and Recreation Board, position R6, for a term expiring June 30th, 2028.
I plan to abstain, so
Fred Camillo seconds that. All those in favor, Fred Camillo is a yes.
Lauren Rabin, yes.
Janet Stone McWigan, abstain.
Okay, and we thank Mike for his great service on that board and look forward to him continuing and welcoming the new people that are signing up for boards, committees, and commissions. Okay, with that, I don't see anything else in the agenda, so is there a motion to adjourn?
Lauren Rabin, so moved.
Janet Stone McWigan, I second.
All those in favor, Fred Camillo's a yes.
Lauren Rabin, yes.
Janet Stone McWigan, yes.
Thanks, everybody. Have a great day.